everyone, this is Karen Fomafung. Welcome back to my channel. Today we will be talking about spikes in a Scrum team. So if this is your first time here, very quickly, you're very welcome. Just so you know what we talk about every week: Agile, Scrum, project management, product development, how to continuously improve, and we just share ideas around these career paths. So if you are interested and want to stay in sync with our weekly upload, please go ahead and turn on that subscription button, switch on the notification bell, so that you will never miss out on any of our materials. And if you are a returning viewer, a returning subscriber, I salute you. You are awesome. You are just awesome. It's because of you that we've come this far, and I appreciate you so much. Now, thank you so much, and let's go straight into our topic. What is spike in Agile project management Scrum team? So there's been a lot of conversation going on around this same spike topic, so I thought I should just come on here and share my opinion. Now, this is what I think. I need you to see spike as research work. You know, there are different categories of work items in the product backlog. That's why we call it product backlog items, which means that in a product backlog, we are not expected to only have user stories. You see, user story is just a type of work item, the same as spike, the same as defects, the same as task. So those are just some of the few categories of different work items out of so many others. Now, specifically on spike, I need you to see spike as research work. Usually, when does spike come into play? Spike usually comes into play when team members are discussing on a specific ask, or you want to call it requirements, and so far they are not able to truly understand what it takes to be able to accomplish that work within a sprint, and they need to gather more information or more empirical data, so that at least it will raise their level of confidence in a way that once they commit, or once they are able to pull in that work item into the sprint as a user story, at least they have some level of certainty that they will be able to accomplish that work. You see, so in that case, they would want to do more research, more findings, gather more information that will enable them to be able to work on that user story and accomplish it in a way that will deliver a value to the customers. So that kind of item, they term it as spike. So in summary, or in a nutshell, I need you to see spike as research work. That category of work that a team member will pick in order to do more investigation, do more findings and dig to gather more insight on how to go about this work, what it really takes in order to be able to successfully accomplish the work that will deliver results to the customer. So that, in my opinion, is what spike is. Spike is not a user story. Sometimes I hear team members, even Scrum Masters, Agile Coaches, they will call something a spike user story. It is a spike. It's not a user story. A user story, it's a user story. That's why it's one category. You cannot say a spike user story. No. A spike is a spike. A user story is a user story. And I think that, to me, I'm very particular about calling things the right way, using the right terms to call things just the way they are. And because I have noticed that for some reasons, when people miscall names, names that they truly are not, it just brings some confusion in their head, and then they just have misconception. So I'm very particular when it comes to calling things the right names. You see, so spike is a spike. A spike is not a user story spike. No, or a spike is not a user story. It is just a form or a type of work item where the goal of that work item is to do research, to gather more insight, to be able to execute the user story that will be created after the findings have been achieved. You see, so now in my experience, this is how it works. Let's say we are currently discussing on one ask that a customer has asked, and then in the course of having that conversation, I'm talking about the developers, they realize that, they don't know everything So they're not necessarily supposed to know everything anyway. So, but they don't have enough information that they can at least get going on this work and deliver result value to the customers. So they would go ahead and create a kind of work item that they call it spike. Now, once they create this work item, a team member can assign themselves to this work item and say, okay, I will go ahead and do these findings on what we really need to be able to deliver results to the customer. And then now they will just time box it. And once they time box it, they get going in their sprint. So they pull it into the sprints though. They pull it into the sprints, they get going with the work. And once that team member is able to gather the information that they've been looking for or find out what they've been looking for, they come now and create a user story to be able to execute so that the customer can get value. You see? So that is, in my opinion, that is what a spike is. So a spike is not a user story. No, a spike is just a form of work item, which is which the goal of it is to gather more information that will enable them to generate a user story that is valuable to the customer. Now, this is the biggest twist. This is the biggest challenge that I have experienced, and I see some Scrum Masters, team members just getting the whole thing mixed up, and it is very, very critical. Before I address this, please stay tuned right up to the end because it's very important. I just want to first remind you that we have great mentoring programs to help upcoming or aspiring Scrum Masters to be able to get going into the field, landing the job, and be very effective on the job. So if you're looking to excel in this career path, you're not sure how to go about it, you don't have any clear direction, please reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you. We have great success story. It's not even something that we are arguing about. Our results speaks for themselves. Visit our website, you will see our reviews there. Go on Google, you will see our reviews there. You see, reach out to us. We will be more than glad to work with you to the very end. Our program is very supportive. It's just not all about Agile. It's deeper than that. The way our program is structured, it's a family that strives to help each other succeed and grow. So reach out to us. We'll be so glad to help you. If you're just starting or you're just looking to transition into this career path, you don't have any knowledge whatsoever, contact us. Our level 1 program is designed for that, to help you close the gap, to acquire the theoretical understanding of the concept, and then you go get certified. Once you get certified, and then you can move up to our level 2 program to help mentor you and coach you towards landing the job. The same for those who are already on the ground as professional Scrum Masters, Agile Coaches, release trained engineers, delivery managers. If you're struggling with your job, you're just not able to get it, and you see that you're not adding value to your organization. As a true Agile practitioner, trust me, there is no way you can feel good about yourself if you are in that situation. Reach out to us. We have an excellent program that works with you to be very valuable in your organization. You'll be adding quantifiable results in your organization. They can feel your impact. If you're able to join our program, we will be glad to work with you through this journey. So let's go back to our topic. Now, this confusion that I've seen happens a lot in this Agile space is I see some teams estimating spikes. They will use story pointing, and then they say the spike is 5, the spike is 3, the spike is 2, the spike is 8. Okay. If you're able to estimate it, then why is it a spike? If you know enough to be able to estimate it, then why is it a spike? Because the only reason why you're spiking is because you don't know enough to be able to deliver the value or accomplish the work that will deliver value to the customers. If you know enough to be able to estimate the work, then why are you spiking it? It should be a user story. If you think you know that well or that much to be able to give it an estimate, then it should be a user story, not a spike. So in my opinion, if you think that you don't know enough to be able to do this user story and deliver value to the customers, then it means that you shouldn't be able to estimate it as well. So I would not encourage teams to estimate spikes. Again, to each their own. Organizations do it differently, but I don't see that as a good practice at all. I don't see that as a good practice. Yes, at the same time, I understand you need to account for the work that you're doing. That is why it's very important to also plan capacity. Capacity planning also is very helpful so that you can use your capacity planning. You can use your capacity plan to be able to account for the work that you have committed to, or the time that you have committed to accomplishing the spike. So in my opinion, I think that we should be time boxing spike. I mean, this is a self-managing and self-organizing team. It's not as if we want to your performance is measured by the number of story points you accomplish. Then you're afraid, and that's the reason why you want to spike, you want to estimate spikes in the first place. You see, I'll see that as an issue. So bring your spike into the sprint, just time box it. A sprint is a 2-week sprint, right? For example, so you can say that, okay, let's bring this and start doing the work. And once we are able, so the cap is the 2-week sprints. But if you are able to discover what you're looking for, it's okay. Even if you're able to discover what you're looking for just after 2 days from the start of the sprint, great. You can now go and generate a user story for that spike and then go ahead and estimate that user story. You see, so you shouldn't be estimating spike because you don't know enough. That is why you're spiking that work item in the first place. So to account for the time, again, in summary, it's important to do your capacity planning so that you can account for the time or track the time that you have spent on that work, so that in the future you may use that to, future estimates or discussion, use that to improve, Yeah, so that would be my opinion around this spike conversation. I don't think we should be estimating spike. I don't think we should be giving any points to spike because you don't know enough to be able to estimate it. And that's the reason why you're estimating in the first place, so that you can have some form of accuracy to be predictable, you see. So just time box it. Get the work done. Once you discover what you're looking for, go ahead and generate a user story for it. And then at that point, you can now estimate it and you get going. Everyone is happy. Thank you so much and hope to talk to you next.